Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Maestro here. It is Thursday, September 7th, 2017, and with me is a special guest, Mandy from Bombard's Body Language. Welcome, Mandy.
Hello.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah. Hopefully this lasts.
Yeah, just to let you know, let the audience know, this is take 5. I'm ahead 3 boo-boos to Mandy's 2, so here we go.
Well, one of my boo-boos was this important phone call.
It was a boo-boo on your side still, though. Right. So, Mandy, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a mom. I was nursing. I did some police work, and I don't really know what it would be interesting to people other than those things.
Well, can I tell you, at first time I heard you, I thought it was Laura Ingraham talking. Have you ever heard that from anyone?
Are you talking about the little prairie lady?
Oh, what do you mean by this? Here we go. What do you mean the little prairie lady?
The little house on the prairie. That's the only Laura Ingalls I know.
Well, that's Laura Ingalls, but Laura Ingraham, the Fox News correspondent. She's got her own show, but your voice sounds so familiar to me. And then I had to do the research, like, oh, no, that's not Laura Ingraham. I thought that was maybe her side hobby or something.
No.
But it's yours. Actually,
no, it's mine.
It doesn't actually look like a hobby. So could you tell us about Bombard's Body Language? Bombard's, what is that, first of all?
I had created a YouTube channel. It was originally called Bombard's Lost. Just a random name. And one day I was teaching the kids to recognize tells in people. And because I wanted them to recognize people. Like, do you not see this? Look, blah, blah, blah. And you know how kids are.
Right.
It was like, not listening, not paying attention. And I just lost my mind on it. So I was like, I'm going to go make a video. I'll put it out there because, one, it'll de-stress me. Right. I'll be able to get information out, and I'll make the kids watch it, and then I don't have to do anything because it's all pointed out. And then it was like other people started watching it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. And then more people started watching it, and in the beginning it was like 1,000, and then, because I wouldn't do a video every day, and then all of a sudden I was getting messages, where have you been? I didn't know I started a job.
So listen, I like that introduction. I have to tell you, I've learned a lot from you. Your body sings with what you just shared with us.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. How long have you been analyzing recognizable figures, and what prompted you to do so?
Pretty much. Well, for the YouTube committee, when this whole started back in September 28th. But as far as watching people, pretty much my entire life, especially, well, my professional life. But when things started happening with Obama and the communities and law enforcement, I really believe that you just want to go get it from the horse's mouth. And so for myself, I started watching them in that way. And it really irritated me that nobody else could see, especially when you would see these fibbers get up there or these backstabbers, and it was like nobody recognized it. It bothered me when I watched news people do it. It bothered me when I watched politicians do it. But I didn't start doing it for the people until pretty much September.
Okay, who was your first guinea pig?
My first guinea pig?
Yeah.
For myself would have been George Bush.
And
George Bush Jr.
Jr. Okay, and I haven't watched it. I watched.
Oh, I didn't. I did one for him, but one where I really just wanted to look at for myself.
Okay. Oh, I read.
Before YouTube, I did.
Okay. Do you still have it saved?
No.
Okay. Just wondering if we could get it autographed or something.
No, I was. It was my sister and I had gotten into a debate, and we were inside McDonald's when we got into this debate on the staying in the Middle East, getting in the Middle East, and all that mess. And it was kind of like, well, one, is the information that we're getting real? That would be really helpful. Is the information that we're getting real? Is pulling out the best idea based off of the information that we have? And so that was why I started looking at these people for myself. When it came to doing it and then realizing that there was an audience for it and that people actually were interested in it, I started doing it for for the Trump movement itself, because it's like, yeah, I want to get truth out. I believe in his message. I believe in law. And I also believe that when people start recognizing the deception, it will be a much better world, because then you can't hide.
Well, during our pre-interview, I did ask you a question. Maybe we can just go ahead and let's just dig into Donald Trump. As I told you, and my audience is aware, I live somewhere in Florida, Central Florida. And about 5-6 days ago, I started becoming aware, concerned, of course, have some kind of interesting awareness of this storm, Irma. And as you know, everyone knows, it's the big topic right now. And of course, Harvey was the big topic. It's just incredible how these things just fly by, this information. But what's your sense about world affairs, the 21st century, 2017, energy? What are you sensing? Give us your opinion.
My opinion, based off of what I know and looking at some of the figures that I look at just for my own curiosity, I think eventually what you'll find is, well, I think America is going to go through what it's going through now, and it will escalate until there's a winner. And then regardless of who the winner is, I think the dollar in itself will stay in control, just because we have the resources now to back it up. And I mean that in oil and coal reserves.
Capped wells.
Yeah. Whereas the Middle East used to be the juggernaut again, we've been saving all of ours up and spending all of theirs.
You're sharing with me a positive outlook. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we still have to, so there's got to be a winner first. I'm giving you the after. Okay.
Wow. Tell me about the storm. There are a lot of people, YouTube can, the conspiracies can kind of suck you in, and you can't, sometimes it's really difficult to decipher. And, even though I'm a data-driven kind of person, I'm looking for facts. I have a full-time job, and, I'm just a layperson. I'm just a middle-class citizen, but I am active and passionate. Is there any truth to maybe the storm being steered towards us and maybe being steered away from us?
Well, as I told you, when I was in school, they did teach us. They taught us about the boats and the jet engines, and they could drive the storms. And it wasn't sold to us as weather manipulation or weather wars. It was sold to us as a way to keep populations safe by being able to steer the storm away from the coast. That's what I was taught as a kid in elementary school. So if I'm being taught that as a kid now, and I don't know why they would stop teaching kids this, it would go to show that they're probably doing that today. So in saying that, before everyone freaks out, it's our water. It's our controlled waters. So if there's boats doing it, it would be our boats. Sorry, there's somebody without a muffler. Welcome to Hickville. Anyways, so it's our boats. And if you believe that Trump is good and that these boats are under his control, then they're not, there's nothing there. And if there was a nefarious entity or another country doing it, we would be able to see it, because we would see heat signatures of these jet engines, because as it explained to me as a child, these jet engines are pushing up hot air. So you'd be able to see this with satellites, just the heat signatures in and of itself. So if you're not seeing any heat signatures, even with just access to commercial satellites, it's not driven by anybody.
Have we seen anything in this storm?
I haven't seen anybody, and nobody's come up with anything, so I'm assuming no.
Okay. As I shared with you pre-interview, NASA is right there on that coast. And, we're talking about the smartest of the smartest, and you'd think if somebody could move it. But then, it challenges, historically, Matthew came through the area roughly a year ago. If Harvey could have been steered in a way to avoid catastrophe in Houston, it would have been steered. This one, it could go right up the gut of Florida. It could go around through Tampa, be another Charlie. It could be a Donna 1960. It could be another Matthew times 2. Right. So there's a great amount of anxiety. And the other thing is, we've known about this storm for a good 7 days. And and just maybe it's more information overload. Maybe I'll move into that. Do you see information overload? Do you personally have a hard time deciphering and trying to stay focused on your goals in life and try to keep the noise out? I try. I'm not sure I'm successful. What about you?
I don't know. I guess that's where you get just to the point where you just turn it off. When I sit there and look at things, I tend to just, one, what I'm looking for is what they're saying, factual or opinion. So I sift through it like that. If I'm seeing a whole lot of opinion, I need a horse. I need the mouth of the horse. I need the horse's mouth.
Okay.
And that's what I try and go for every time.
And you can read that by just watching, which will move into what you're doing.
Well, you listen to it now.
Okay.
You can listen to it too.
Okay.
That's the main of it. What I'm listening for is to see if it's opinion or their fact. So when I find fact, now I'm looking at it to sit there and see where is their fact and where's their opinion.
Can you give me
where does it mix?
Okay, can you give us an example of what you mean by that then? Like, for instance, I'm talking right now, not that, we've agreed that you'd analyze me, but what are you listening to? I have a lower pitch, for instance. Do you listen to pitch? Do you listen to diphthong? Do you listen to articulation? What do you listen to?
Well, I'll get through the beginning part. Fact or opinion, because opinion goes into belief system. So when you're listening, the very beginning, if we're talking about, I told you a story of me getting and being told about the jet engines on aircraft carriers and driving storms. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm giving you a fact of my childhood that if you go back to the school, you should be able to find the lesson plans on this. Okay? That would be fact. Okay, so now I know where to drive to. I have a horse's mouth of their experience there. Mm-hmm. The opinion comes into, well, then I assume that now in today's world that that's what they're doing if I was taught that as a child.
Okay. So that's confirmation for you.
Yeah, but it's my opinion on what I saw.
Right. Okay.
But my fact is what I was taught.
Okay.
And that's what I look for when I see people. That was their fact. This is their belief.
Explain what you mean by sing. I hear you say it a lot, and I love that you do because I'm a musician, and I think I know what you mean, but what do you mean coming from the horse's mouth?
Singing, by the way, go to my website because I have almost all my definitions on there. But singing is when the body moves, your muscles and your bones are all connected. You're breathing in, and things give way. Your arms give way to your expansion of your rib cage. Mm-hmm. Your spine moves with it. Everything moves with it. And then when you're just talking with someone, your body just moves along with it.
Naturally.
Things give way to something moving. If your head moves this way, your shoulders will give way to that and make room for that movement. When you're in deception and you get stiff, it's like all of a sudden this just stops moving.
Give us an example then, right now, if you don't mind.
See me? My head moving?
Yes, but your
my shoulders are not.
Okay.
But those can be very, very small. Like I can go still, and I do this slight movement.
Wow.
It's still stillness.
Okay. Okay. Let's dig into a couple of personalities. Could you give us a dichotomy between someone who you believe sings, is telling their truth, as you say, and someone who is deceiving?
Can you give me an example? So many go through my brain.
I bet.
Oh my gosh.
Could we use John Kelly, for instance? That is the most fascinating video, I think. I know it's short, sweet, to the point, but I love it. John Kelly.
Yeah, I haven't seen him be deceptive yet. And I say yet because everyone has the potential to do it, and there's no one that's ever told the truth their whole life.
Right.
But he pretty much sings, but it looks like he's got pain somewhere in his body because he holds himself stiff on one side, and that's another thing. When you're watching people and they've got stiffness, you need to look and see if it's always in that one area. Like for him, it seems to be like on this side. So if that side never moves, even when he's telling the truth on something, and then his other part of his body is singing, it's kind of like, okay, there's something medically wrong with him. That's why that is like that is.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm just going to say it. Hillary Clinton. What's your first couple, 3 words? Hillary Clinton.
Crazy.
Medicated?
Yeah, medicated, crazy. I wouldn't completely I would call her a sociopath, because she does have emotion in the sense of things she values and herself.
Okay.
And she's not sadistic on the things and people she values.
You mentioned, was it psychopath, you think you said? Is that the word
Sociopath.
you used? Sociopath.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've heard that term, a description of Donald Trump. Explain Donald Trump now.
I've done, for my patrons on Patreon, we had a class, and it was who is it? Jimmy Kimmel or something came out with the thing where he's pushing stuff around. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's really good, because you can actually see his personality when he's doing it. So I was showing the people in my class how he's pushing things around and how he acts with different people. And there's this one lady who's sitting next to him, and she's got herself really small and leaned away from him. And she's just being very meek next to him. So in all the other times you see him claiming space, right. When he saw her, he looked over, he saw her, he brought his space and gave her more space.
What does that tell you?
He's very giving, and those that he perceives as weak, he gives extra to. So he's a very giving individual.
And I'll just dig into it right now. We've seen a lot of photos of Donald Trump with African Americans, and not only does he give them space, but I think his form of giving them space, everything I've seen, is he's actually close to them. Like, maybe giving them space in the sense of their individuality, but he's close to them. What's that about?
When like Ben Carson, yeah. I remember this one really well too, because he was getting on stage and they were supposed to call Ben first, and this was during the campaigning. And it was still with the Republicans on there. And they were supposed to call Ben. And Ben was up there and he was waiting at the side. And they called Trump, and Trump wouldn't go up. And he stood with Ben because he knew Ben was supposed to go first. And they didn't call right. And he waited and waited with Ben.
I remember now.
And I was just, the whole body, it wasn't a defiant thing to them. It was like he was standing in camaraderie. He liked Ben. He liked him. Genuinely liked him. It's like, this is my friend and we stand together.
That would be evidence of Donald Trump looking for the character of a man, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. I think that's important to be said, especially in this time. As you know, I'm interested in trend analysis. I think you know that. Charting, and of course you can't predict the future, although maybe you have something to say actually about this, being in medicine and analyzing people. In your observation, is the weightiness of the position affecting Donald Trump and his behavior trend? And if so, what are the variables that might affect his behavior?
I don't know. Like, in a sense of what kind, are you talking about the position of presidency?
Here's what I see. Go ahead, sorry.
The symbol that he has become.
I'll say this. This is my sense. I sense he's a driven man, and he's an alpha male. I think he's an alpha male. I could be wrong, but and it's all about being the best. It's all about some bravado and being in charge. I see glimpses of the weightiness, as I used earlier in the question, of being president. I sense he must know some details that he must not have known that are really intense. Is that changing his behavior since being inaugurated? And could we potentially say that will change his behavior in the future?
I don't think we're going to get a behavior change as far as who he is, because who he is who he is. Okay. I think what we're seeing is he's in a position as president, and he's in a position as a symbol for a movement for freedom. So you got the presidency that is giving him secrets that the public is not privy to, and he's now had to adjust his plan for that. But you see that as a symbol, he hasn't stepped away from that. But it looks to it at times that he has, but it's because of the presidency and the new information he's got to play. It's kind of like if I tell you to go home and make chicken, but you get there and you make something else, but you're not allowed to tell me what you have to make it with, but you're still going to bring me something to eat.
Right. then how does this Twitter thing, is this a habit of his? Is this truly his way to reach the American people? Is he being advised to continue to do this? What's your sense as you read him?
His Twitter is his way. I mean, I think people put too much thought into it as far as, that's his thing. It's his way of being Trump. That's how he gets information out. He knows he has a very large audience. He knows if he puts it out, it's going to reach the right people, and we're all going to talk about it.
Okay. Here's the next question. Without debating whether Hillary Clinton would have been a better choice for President of the United States, are there any physical attributes that would have made her a better, more formidable, or maybe softer, more compassionate president than Donald Trump?
No. There's nothing there. She's very cold. She comes off as extremely fake even when she's really trying to be nice. It comes off of her as fake. People pick up on it, and of course they in their body communicate that back to her, and then of course she just gets worse in her coldness as she tries to act even more to reassure them, and it just reverberates back and forth. She's her being president and reaching the people and being with others. The only thing that glued her and her compadres together was money.
Okay, I'm going to move on. I had another question, but I think I'll pass that up. When world leaders met at the G20 in Germany a month or so ago, did you observe a world leader who acted inconsistent with or outside of his or her normal observable behavior?
That just reminds me of, what's his name, that French president?
Oh, Macron.
I don't remember it. Macron. It actually wasn't weird for him because he was a weird guy. It just stood out more, even more. He's like, oh no, it's just that's how he is.
Is that one of your videos?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
that's just him.
Okay. Trudeau, I love your analysis of Trudeau. Talk to us. Was he inside? I mean, I think it was you who did this video where he's sitting by himself, he's standing trying to get into a conversation with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump doesn't look at him at all, and then he just goes and sits down by himself. Maybe it wasn't you. I don't
think I did that one, but yeah, that sounds like a Trudeau moment.
Did you?
I don't get to play with the big boys.
Did you call him a petulant child?
No, I called Kim Jong-un the petulant child.
Oh, that's right. You did that the other day. Well,
Trudeau is the tampon man.
Oh my gosh. I was told this is going to be a firecracker interview. It's awesome. Okay, back to Donald Trump here. Here we go. I got him down ship. Okay, I've watched Donald Trump, in particular, how he treats Melania. It's difficult identifying his love and admiration of Melania, in my opinion, in my observation. Am I reading into that too much?
I think you read into that too much because, they have a very respectful relationship. She's not a stupid woman, so she brings her own intelligence to that conversation. When you watch them together and she's right there, he'll sit there and look to her like in an approving way. It may not be all huggies and clingy to each other, but he does look to her like, yeah, that's right? Yeah, okay, we're all on the same page.
During the inauguration, there's this famous video where he looks back, and apparently he was actually glancing through or over Melania and talking to Ivanka, or I don't know if you've seen that, and then she's smiling, and as soon as he turns around, she looked sad, I think was the word that commentators had used. Have you seen the video, and would that be consistent with your observation of that relationship?
No, I'm no, not on the relationship. And yes, I saw the video, and it was explained because Barron had enough.
Oh.
He had enough. He was done for today. And it was understandable because he's been up since the butt crack of dawn, and as any kid, he was done.
And so Donald probably turned around and said, keep him under control or something like that. And
no.
Okay.
No. He was probably looking at someone else or talking to someone else, or maybe he was looking at her. Whatever his direction was, she was like, okay, I'm smiling. Boy, I'm telling you.
Okay. I'll have to watch that again. Watch for that. Great. Thank you. Gee. I won't even ask about Baron. Okay. It's not fair, right? We've been told that. So it's been said when identifying authentic smiles, look to see if the smile meets the eyes. There might be another way to say that. Is that true? And what other indications can one identify in the quest for confirmation of authenticity?
For a smile? Well, watch me. Listen. It's all in my eyes, right?
Right.
But it's a fake smile.
I see it in your cheeks.
Yeah, that's it.
Your teeth clenched.
Look at the eye.
Okay.
Here.
Now, can you smile for real?
I can't smile for real because that would be weird.
I'm getting hit by a hurricane,
but this is
and
a
you're
smile
not.
For real. That's it there. But it comes through here.
Okay.
Comes all the way out. Your forehead, everything moves. Your whole face will do it.
So it's not just the eyes.
No, it's not just the eyes. Okay. It's not just this. I mean, everything and I'm sure people do this next time they laugh, they'll feel their ears go back.
Wow, I've never sensed that before. Okay. My ears are covered right now, so I don't know if I'd feel it. Hey, I play poker.
When you smile and your headset moves.
Oh, okay.
Think about what's moving in your head.
You're right.
Yeah.
It moved a millimeter. I felt it. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'll check. I'll look into that. Listen, I play poker for fun. What are some of the more telling signs of a bluff versus someone who has an unbeatable hand?
I suck at poker. This might be astonishing to learn. I suck at poker. Reason I play a lot, and I tend to lose every hand.
When you make a move, whether it's a bet or a fold, does it take you a long time
to do it?
Yeah. Do you deliberate? Do you look around? Let's say you've got someone across the table makes a heavy raise, and you might. Okay, fine. You might, as you say, suck at it, but. Right now, do you do that? That would be a tell that I've read. I've read that touching that would. What were you doing right there? Wow, I'm analyzing you.
I was actually thinking.
Okay, you're thinking.
I was thinking.
All right.
I was thinking of my sister, and we were at Thanksgiving, and we were playing poker with everyone at the table, and I had actually ended up winning that, but it was against family members, and because of the knowledge of family members, I had used what would drive them in the direction that I would drive them. I know my sister, I had a really good hand, but if I betted high, then she would know. So I betted low, and she thought she had the better.
So you trapped her?
Yes.
On purpose?
Of course.
What did you do with your face, if you can recall, or what would you do to your face at that time? What would someone need to do in order to trap someone?
Well, I guess it would be different for everyone. For her, it is just we're having a family time fun, and to not change from the mindset of when I was losing to the mindset of winning.
So it has to be believable. That's
the other thing you really have to understand when you're doing body language is where your mind at is what your body's doing. So if your mind is, oh, I'm about to get you, your body is going to announce, ooh, I'm about to get you.
Okay. Interesting.
So if my mind is in the concept of we're having a family fun time, it's going to stay and we're having a family fun time.
And if it departs from that, then
okay, something's changed in Mandy, and I need to sit there. Why is she doing that?
Okay. Wow.
So where your mind is where your body is.
Do you ever watch professional poker players?
I did once, and I found it very boring.
Okay, well, it can be because it seems like the time limit, can be like, sure, you can sit and wait and think about it for 5 minutes. That part is ridiculous. Yeah. Right. It's not
the guy that gets me the most, he was wearing a black jacket, black glasses, dark hair, and I was just like, yeah, I just don't like watching you. And all he did the whole time was this. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm done.
Boring, right. LeBron James, what do you think?
Which one is he?
Plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, got a lot of tattoos. He's apparently like the best basketball player, or one of the best. He took over for Michael Jordan, so to speak, as the most iconic figure in the NBA.
I know I should know that name. I just drawn a blank on him.
What basketball figure or any sport figure have you watched, analyzed? What kind of information?
Other than the fights with McGregor and Mayweather?
Which, I love that video as well.
No, I generally really don't do sports. They not that bright. And they're not stupid people. They're just dimensionally simple.
Muhammad Ali, you remember watching any of his?
Yeah, I do. I liked him a lot.
You liked him because he was authentic?
Well, I liked him, one, because he was authentic, and I also liked him because he thought. He really did use his brain. I didn't agree with everything that he said. Well, especially he's a Muslim. I shouldn't say was. I mean, wherever he's at, he's still a Muslim.
Right.
And I know he's dead. But I respected him. He had that conviction in his heart and his spirit, and he believed in treating people correctly.
Right. In your observation, can you attribute increased money or fame to obvious observable changes in someone that you've studied, and who?
Oh, the money factor. Yeah. I don't want to say who, because it's usually the YouTubers. It's like you can instantly see when the money starts coming in, and they've got it.
YouTube changes people?
Yeah, it does.
And you don't want to say who. Okay, that's fair enough. How about a...
It's never just one, but yeah, I don't want to say who.
How about a public figure where you can tell that money is... I mean, money's important, or it's a more important element of that person's life, and you can tell, and why? How can you tell? Or it doesn't matter?
I'm trying to think of a public figure that had it and then didn't have it, or that we would all know.
Mike Tyson, maybe?
Yeah, but there's not too much of him in the before.
Okay.
All
right.
I'm sorry, I'm drawn. I can't think of anybody that anybody would know before and after.
No problem. DMC, one of my subscribers from London, asks, could you ask Mandy, in your recollection, what is your read of Janet Yellen?
She's very happy. And not just like, giddy happy. She was so relaxed the last reading I did with her. And I think it was about this summertime. Was that summer I did her? I know it was this year. But she was so relaxed from Obama's administration to the Trump administration. I mean, she was so tight. She was in. She's this. She just, and then when it was at this after thing, or whatever that meeting they had, and they were discussing interest rates and things of that nature, she was just loose, relaxed, just, yeah, this is what we're going to do. It was like, oh my gosh, it was night and day. Like, is this the same woman during the previous 8 years? Well, she wasn't there the whole 8 years, but before. Mm-hmm. She's just very much relaxed this time, very happy.
Given that, I think my channel probably, by default, given that I chart, stocks and the index and gold and silver and the dollar, and this is an opportunity for you to kind of share where you think our economy or the status or state of our nation. You've already projected and mentioned that you think there's some kind of event where we either will win or lose. Can you walk us a little bit more through that? And maybe, admittedly, I mean, there's just a lot of, well, what is doom and gloom? I guess maybe that could be a part of my question too, but where are we? Historically, within the universe, cycle, where are we? What's your sense?
I think as far as the American public is concerned, there is a big mouth talking, and there's a bunch of little mouths. And the big mouths is more the mainstream, and the little mouths is more of the populace that is talking and doing information amongst themselves. And so at this point, all it is an information war. That's all it is. And unfortunately, the big mouth is dying. Well, fortunately, it's dying because the information is flowing amongst here. Mm-hmm. But the bad part over here is that you have sensationalists that are rising because of the public rising up, and that will kill the movement in and of itself, because if they don't rein in and make it factual, they'll go, well, what's the point of this if they're just like this?
So competition is, of course, seeking market share. And if the mainstream media's market share is diminishing, which I don't know what the data looks like, but it sure seems like that's the case. What would your advice, wise Mandy, what would your advice be to the alternate media?
Well, I can tell you psychologically, if you continue to do the sensationalism,
yes,
you're going to burn out your audience and die. If you just stay the route, and it won't be easy, nor will it be a quick buck, you will survive.
Okay, let's go ahead down that road then. InfoWars, do you watch it? Do you observe Alex Jones? I've seen a couple of videos. I think one of those was he on a horseback like Putin or?
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't watch that video. Were you comparing? What was that video about?
No, he was in a crowd. I don't remember, some kind of protest thing, and these people were running through, excuse us moving through or something like that, and they pushed past him. It was one of those things, and he was doing liberal tactics on liberals, and I thought it was kind of funny.
Okay. Would he be one that you would trust for information? In other words, I like the marketing element, InfoWars. I do agree that this is a fight for our minds, and our minds will control our pocketbooks and our viewing habits. Would he be on the side of the sensationalism that you're referring to?
He's got a lot of facts. He's not, as far as the mental mind, he's not like the mainstream as far as their deviousness, but for the mind that is just waking up, they're not going to see a difference between him and them, because they might listen to the information, but he will not hold on to that mind. That's why I say in the beginning, if you do the sensationalism, it's going to be good because so many are waking up, but eventually it's going to die.
So it's trust versus mistrust?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Oh, you've got information. Most of it's real. The sensationalism is killing off your audience, though. But there's so many new people going in that you're not going to see it now.
Have you analyzed Stefan Molyneux?
I have not analyzed him. I have watched him and listened to him.
Okay. Could you give us an example of someone that seems authentic, maybe on the rise? Authentic, it would be someone that you would want to watch. They're very informative, but they're balanced, and they're looking at this from the long haul. Maybe I don't want to say Sean Hannity, but a Sean Hannity-like person who happens to be in the alt media.
For the long run, I do like Jay Snip. I've listened to him a lot. When he gets into stories and stuff, I don't really listen to that. But when he comes into the way he views things, I like that because he likes to look at it from both sides. Okay. I like that mentality, and it's very palpable to most people.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. And I've talked to him on the telephone a couple of times. So, do you have an opinion? There are some battles that I think you might. I'm not sure if you're tapping into. J-Snip happens to be battling some folks, and that could be misinformation, information, whatever. But there are people that trust him, and then he's into alternative investing and.
But that goes to show where you have to recognize opinion. That's his opinion on what he supports.
Right. Okay. So within the YouTube community, the YouTube financial community, he's becoming now a lightning rod of some criticism. Is that just a natural part of the evolutionary cycle of being in public life?
I think for right now, I think we're going through a phase for the mentality because there's so much flooding in as far as people stepping away from the mainstream talking heads, and they're coming this way. And so if you speak in a way of the sheeple mindset that is not completely turned off yet from the mainstream, and you say something radical, you're going to be attacked. And in their mind, as it depends on how awake they are for what is considered radical.
Okay, I'm going to give you an example then. I've been charting for 3 months. I've been doing this YouTube thing for only 4 months. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, maybe it's just a certain passion, some button inside, but I went on about a 3 or 4 video, I don't want to say rant, but people would say rant about Social Security and the baby boomers. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm not in this really ultimately for the subscribers, because I'm just doing this as a hobby, and it's fun. Actually, to be honest, it's kind of a release from being with kids and being in education for 21 years, and it's really opening me up to people. But boy, I lost a ton of subscribers in a short period of time because I attacked pension, Social Security, and baby boomers. Is that a big no-no? Do I just need to be authentic and just believe what I believe? Here, Mandy, you're advising me in front of everybody.
I think in this days and age, you should stand by what your convictions are and not sugarcoat it for anyone at this point. Because, like I said, in the long run, as this wave of new people comes in, and the more awake they get, the talking heads and the alt-right that tickle their ears or sensationalize something with truth or anything, they're going to die out, because people are going to realize, oh, that's not as true as I thought it was, or that's not as good news as I thought it was, or it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Right. Have you analyzed?
And then they die.
Have you analyzed Glenn Beck?
I have. Yeah, I looked. I haven't put him on YouTube, but yeah, I've.
Do you have an opinion, or you can keep that to yourself, of course, but I see something in Glenn Beck personally. I see something happened when he went mainstream. And then, of course...
Yeah, I guess that would be the best example of what money does to you.
Okay, good. That's why I mentioned it. Yeah, right. Whereas I look at a Sean Hannity, for instance, and I see a consistency, a through line that appears to be consistent, not without bumps, but he seems pretty level-headed, and he's believed what he's believed for a long period. Rush Limbaugh appears to have believed what he's believed for a long period of time. How about in the left? Well, I hate aisles and trying to put monikers on people, but it exists, this political spectrum, so to speak. How about the left, who is consistent and believes everything they believe? I mean, in your observation.
But they just believe it and they don't care.
And they don't care.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldman's a big one. She believes what comes out of her mouth.
Okay.
I mean, hardcore believes, and if you try and give her facts or anything else that would challenge that mindset, she bucks viciously. She just will not accept it. And I saw that when I did that video with The View, and oh my gosh, the woman that's on Trump's team, Conway.
Okay. What do you think of Kellyanne Conway? Boy, I love this. This feels like it's a talk show right now in itself. What do you think about Kellyanne? I like her.
I like her too. She's a very strong woman. Oh my goodness. She'd be the woman that we would be in the kitchen if it was Thanksgiving and I was actually helping her cook a meal that I would just be doing what I was told.
Right. Out of fear?
Just because that she likes to take control.
Okay, right. That's an interesting household, I'm sure. Oh. And I think I'm actually married to a Kellyanne Conway, so...
There you go.
I am.
It's not a bad thing. It's just...
No, it is. And
I know where I stand.
Right, exactly. Yep. I know my boundaries and my borders, and yeah. So I'll share that with you off air. But Mandy, thanks a lot. Hang with me off air for a minute, but thanks a lot for joining us. And I really look forward to my audience, and frankly, it won't just be my audience. I think one of my videos has 120,000 views, and this is the interview that should be 250,000 views. So thank you very much, Mandy, for your time today.
Oh, no problem. This was fun.
This was a lot of fun. Have a great day.
You too.